Roosevelt, France, and many of the other countries who would later become involved in World War II supported Neville Chamberlain in his attempts to get Hitler to promise peace. But it didn't work, of course. After promising he wouldn't take any more territory, in March of 1939, Hitler takes the rest of Czechoslovakia, and then he begins to threaten Poland. Britain and France promised to protect Poland and try to get the Soviet Union to join in an alliance to do so. But Stalin hadn't been invited to the Munich conference, the leader of Soviet Russia. And he had given up on the idea that the West was going to help him. He was scared of the Japanese expansion to his east and the German expansion to his west. And so, in August of 1939, Hitler and Stalin will sign the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact. It starts out as a secret treaty, but it becomes known fairly quickly. And essentially, Stalin, who probably hated Hitler more than anybody else, or at least as much as anybody else, had become convinced that America and France and Britain were never going to help him. And so in desperation, he signed an agreement not to go to war with Hitler. Now, what this meant for Hitler was that his only real threat was now to his west, France and England. America probably wasn't even in his equation. So on September 1st of 1939, Hitler invades Poland. The Polish army fights nobly. They fight very hard. But they're oftentimes using horses against tanks. And in some battles, there's even soldiers armed with spears. They're just nowhere near the technological advancement of the German army, which is at that point the most modern army in the world. With the invasion of Poland, Britain and France declare war on Germany, and the European phase of World War II has begun. Unlike World War I, it was very clear whose side America would be on if they entered the war. Of course, we began neutral. FDR believed that the U.S. must neutralize German military production, meaning that we must make more weapons than Germany can and supply the Allies. After Poland, FDR asked Congress to modify the Neutrality Act to allow us to sell weapons to the Allies. Congress did so, but it was still cash and carry, meaning they had to be paid for up front and they had to be shipped on Allied ships. American ships were not allowed in war zones. And this, meanwhile, in Europe, nothing really happens after the takeover of Poland. Sometimes this is called the phony war. There's a lull after the attack of Poland that lasts for about 6 months. And many people come to believe that Hitler's done. That's it. Between September 1st of 1939 and the spring of 1940, many people delude themselves into thinking that it's over. Of course, it wasn't. In the spring of 1940, Hitler unleashes his blitzkrieg. This means lightning warfare. He storms very, very rapidly into Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, and of course France. Mussolini also invades France from Italy, and France hit much more quickly than they expected, surrenders on June 22nd of 1940. Sadly, the French had once again beefed up the line between Germany and France, and the Germans, just like they'd done in World War I, just simply went through the Netherlands and Belgium and got France that way. It's a little embarrassing that happened twice, 20 years apart. France surrenders, and the French government is replaced by a puppet German government called the Vichy government. There are, of course, French freedom fighters who will continue to fight to free France throughout the course of the war.